Hello, this is Wenching Reviews, and today I'll be doing a video on American Son, about a black woman who goes to a police station to try to find her missing son. Instead of getting help, she's met by antagonistic racist cops. The whole movie takes place in one room, which is the police waiting room. There is one flashback scene when Kerry Washington's character starts talking about how she hasn't been able to sleep. But that's as far as it goes. It's very contained. And because of that and how the performances are, it kept reminding me of a play instead of a movie. And doing some research, I found out that this was adapted from a play from last year. I thought the movie had a really good message. It talked about what it was like to be black in America and dealing with police brutality and worrying about your black children every time they leave the house and how they interact with police. Kerry Washington's character says a lot of real stuff, but at the same time, even though she's very woke, her character is super woke about everything that's going on, she's not delusional, it really confused me that she was married to a white man, especially a white man that has the opposite views of her. But before I get into that, the movie starts off with Kerry Washington's character interacting with one of the police officers at this station, and she's very frantic and very upset, and the cop is refusing to help her. He's pretty much dicking around with her. The cop repeatedly gives very fake sympathy. He's asking her a ton of racially charged questions. One of the questions he starts asking her is if her son is in a gang and if he has a gang name, and he wants to see if he has any felonies, priors under his gang name. And Kerry Washington has to repeat herself several times and insist that her son doesn't have any priors. He's never committed a crime. And it gets to the point where the cop is kind of trolling her. He has this mock smile on his face the entire time. It feels like he was purposely trying to get a rise out of her the entire time. 'Cause that's what white supremacists do. They antagonize you, and then when you defend yourself, they go into victim mode. Jeremy Jordan plays the racist cop, and he does an amazing job portraying this character because the entire time he was on screen, I wanted to punch him in the face. Now, moving on to the white husband, to the white ex-husband, him and Kerry Washington divorced years prior. The majority of the movie is basically them talking with each other and debating about racial issues while waiting for news on their son. The white husband is in denial about racism while Kerry is trying to plead her case. As the movie goes on, tensions start rising, and that's when the movie really starts to pick up the pace. And little by little, you start knowing what happened to the son and what's happening with his situation. And it's very suspenseful. And I thought as the movie went on, the acting really improved. It went from stage theater type of acting to more of a realistic type of acting. In the beginning of the movie, I really didn't like Kerry Washington's performance. I thought her acting wasn't that great in the first maybe 20 minutes. It was mainly her facial expressions, and it was also her body movements. If you've ever seen theater, you know that they have to project their voice and project their movements for the audience to see. That type of performance doesn't work on camera. It might work on theater, but it doesn't work in a movie. But as the movie went on, I did get used to it and it didn't bother me as much. And going back to the white father, I'm very happy that they didn't make the white father into a white savior, because that's the vibe I got when he showed up. This white zaddy was here to save the day. But instead of being a white savior, he ends up being a white supremacist. He's very open about how he doesn't want his biracial son to dress up in a certain way, and how he's ashamed of his black name and how he wanted his son to have a more Caucasian name and how he doesn't want his son to have black friends because he thinks black people are thugs. And like, he's a stone cold white supremacist, and it almost seems a little over the top. And I say a little over the top because white people in real life are more codified in their language. And even though they're having this discussion amongst themselves, they're by themselves, it's not like they're out in public. I mean, maybe this is realistic because I've never been in an interracial relationship before, so maybe this is realistic. And that brings me back to Kerry Washington's character. Like, it made me laugh that she was so blindsided by how racist her ex-husband was. Like, what the hell did you guys even talk about all those years you were married? I mean, you have a child together and you're all of a sudden acting like you didn't know any of this. She is just so appalled and she's crying, and I just find it very hard to believe because their son Jamal is 18 years old, and I find it very hard to believe that he didn't show any signs of racist behavior. Like, come on, girl, stop playing. You knew who he really was. Now all of a sudden that they're divorced and their son might be in trouble, she wants to act brand new. Like, come off it. And that's what you get. And to top it off, later in the movie, this actually gets called out, and it's through another black character, and I found this absolutely hilarious. And that was like the highlight of the movie, in my opinion. So Kerry Washington's character was, in a nutshell, a bed wench who got her wake-up call. Now, all of a sudden, when the honeymoon period is over in her interracial fantasy, now she wants to be pro-black when her son is in trouble. I'm just so over it. Now, as for the ending, I kind of saw the ending coming, but at the same time, the way it was done was very surprising. It really did throw me through a loop. And then when the big reveal comes, the movie just ends. Like, it just stops and the credits start rolling. And I'm just sitting there flabbergasted. Like, really? Like, we waited 90 minutes to find this out, and then you just end the movie? Like, we don't even get a proper closure? But overall, despite the sudden ending, I thought the movie was good. I highly recommend it, especially if you're someone who is concerned about white supremacy and race soldiers. I give it a 6 out of 10. It was good.